Say sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So, dear Dharma practitioners, when we come to practice meditation or any spiritual practice, or even in our conventional life, the start point should be the present moment. So if you start from the future or from your dreams, or if you start from the memory or from your past, it always going to take you to difficulties. So starting from the present moment and recognizing the present moment and starting from wherever you are, whoever you are, whatever you are, from that point, and when you get a very clear understanding, and when you start from that point, your journey going to become more successful. But mostly when it comes to our conventional life, so whatever we want to do, first we start with our dreams. And when we manifesting dreams, sometimes we forget who we are, and sometimes it detach from our true nature. And then what will happen? The fear, anxiety, worry going to happen. So then always look the present moment. So in the Buddha's teaching, that is why that whatever the universe, it doesn't matter how old the universe or whatever the eons we have to go, don't count on that. Don't try to depend on that. In this very moment, you have to look what is your experience as life and how that things happening to you, not the past or not the future or not any other theories somebody else invented. It is okay to know about that, but when it comes to you have to come to a point to understand your true, very clear, the moment of experience. It is a skill. It is a profitable skill. Why? Because that will going to take you to a place to understand how you should start. So especially that's why when it comes to the meditation also, it will help you to take you to the bottom of the truth if you start from the present moment. And we mostly neglecting the present moment, and we try to deal with the moments. Even mostly sometimes, even our present moment, we neglect because of our past. So whatever happened in the past, as example, if something happened in the past, unpleasant memory that you carry, and if you think in this very moment about that, what will happen? You forget this moment and you start to manifest and you start to create that unpleasant situation again in the present moment. So, and whatever that you think about the future, if you start to have dreams regarding it, in that very moment you detach from the present moment, and you come to a kind of like a dream state. So detaching from these two timelines, past and the future, and get connecting to the present moment is a skill. So even in your conventional life, even in day-to-day life, that whatever you want to do, even when it comes to your spiritual life, remember that all our through the culture, traditions, and all these rituals related to this, trying to bring you to the present moment. Why? Because if you recognize in this very moment, in your present moment, You have your true nature, not in the past or not in the future. And in that true nature, you are complete. You become incomplete when you focus to, or when you compare in you to past or the future. So that's why through it's kind of like people like to see rainbows, because when you see the rainbow, it's not going to stay long time. So it's going to be very few moments, and you come when you see it in that very moment, it brings you to the present moment, because you cannot experience it in to the past or the future. And kind of like a scene kind of like you climb to a place and then you see the landscape in that very moment, sun rising, it giving a connection to you. That's why people like it, because it bring your true nature. It awake your true nature. Sunset, because it no, you cannot all 24-hour watch it. It happening, and the other thing is within few seconds it disappear. It disappear. So then you become so focused, and you don't, when you're going to watch the sunset or sunrise, and imagine you climb a higher mountain area and you waiting for the sunrise. In that very moment when the sunrise there, you're not going to think about the past or the future. What happened? You detach from that and you start to focus to it. Oh, that brings you the happiness, it completion, and it brings you the real connection to inside you. So we get it through outside. It brings kind of like a happiness and the satisfaction. But there is a science, there is a method that you can develop it in 24/7, every day, every moment, with your bodily, verbally, mentally action, you can get connected to that. So that is the important part, that once you come to that kind of flow, rhythm in life, each and every moment, whatever you do, you go with that present moment of the flow. So that is where you bring the true connection to this living life. And that is where you experiencing you living. That experience bring kind of like the satisfaction. That experience bring kind of the inner joy. It is very necessary for you, because that is the beauty of having a life. Having a life is not always suffering and trying to find solutions, or trying to make something happen. No, the having the life main purpose should be you live it. And out of that living, you can make things happen. But mostly what will happen to most of us, what is happening? So we forget that living, we disconnect from that living, and we try to make things happen. It's not going to be complete. Maybe we will make things happen, but mostly we're not going to experience the journey itself. We're not going to get any lesson out of this living. So then remember that connect into the present moment, and recognizing the true nature within yourself, and doing something with that is a different way of living. In day-to-day life, there's no limit for that. So whatever that you do, remember, slowly, little by little, get connected to that. When you get connected to that, what will happen? That connection, that moment of connection, bring kind of like experience to connect other things. It's like you become a kind of part of a tree. You are everything around you, because the part of a tree you cannot separate from the tree. So you become kind of like that. This entire universe is kind of like a way that become part of you. But at the same time, deeply, you start to experience this everything, moment by moment by moment change. It take only 1 second. And that you can think, may all living beings in this universe be well and happy. In that very moment, right away, it's come to you, this everything impermanent. If you're able to come to a point to recognize that, and really experience that in your mind, in that very moment, your liberation going to happen. So that much powerful, this moment of recognition. So then in day-to-day life, little by little, you have to start it with your actions, and you start to see, recognize, and bring your attention to it, and knowingly that what you do, start to do it. Don't try to be too right. Don't try to stay away from all the wrong things. You cannot do it. Then you condition you manipulating your life, because it is not what have need, not to be always stay away from the good or bad. It's not going to help for the world. Look at the history of the world. Look at the human generations, that all the good and bad, thousand years old, that knowledge. But still, look at the world every day, it becoming more and more and more complicated. People cannot get out of it. And everybody knows, this, what should not do. But still, it becoming the more stronger current in the world. So if you know the good and bad, then why you cannot stop it? Why the world, why this, other people cannot get out of it? From the school to universities, everybody teach, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. But why people get into that then? If somebody don't go to school or don't have any education and live whole life in the middle of the jungle, if do something wrong, it is okay. It makes sense. But how about you go to school and you get all the good marks, higher marks, and you go to university, you get a first class degree, and then you become the chairman of the company, the all the high class, top class people. And then when you do something wrong, how it can happen like that way? What, from where it come? So the reason is, we not aware about the moment, and we not recognizing what we do by ourselves. If you don't recognize within yourself, if you just it doesn't matter whatever that good or bad, it going to happening within yourself. There is no way it can stop by somebody from outside. Because look at from the history to now, day by day, everything become strong and advanced. All this, the police, the detective system, weapons, everything. If the people are more successful, then it should go away now. But it become more stronger. The reason is, the other side, the current becomes stronger. Why? Because we losing recognition. What will happen when you recognize? in that recognition, the recognition become the subject, your action become the object. That is where the action become minus, go go lower. When the action become, when your action become the subject, you go into it, you get into that current, and we focus to, and don't do this, don't do this, this is good thing, this is bad thing. So like that, we make the action the subject, we follow the actions, and because of that we lose the awareness. But if you focus to the awareness, if you develop the recognition, in that recognition what is happening, your mind become powerful and sharp and clear. That clarity will help you to decide what to do. Otherwise, if we depend surplus level of actions, it never going to end. That is why all over the world, rather than the mind become the doer become the subject, so the subject became the action became the subject. So then because of that, everywhere it get valid. And when that become more and more and more popular, when the good and bad become more popular, more popular, more popular, what happening? People go behind it and they lose the recognition. But the beauty of the mind, when you come to the complete recognition, in that recognition, there is nothing come out of that, there is nothing going to happen related to harm or improfitable action, or there is nothing going to come as demerits or kind of like a bad action. There is nothing going to happen. That's why it called samma. So the very meaning of the samma, it is huge. As you know, in the Eightfold Path, samma ditti, samma sankappa, right view, right intention, right word, right action. So the right, this word right in Pali, it calls samma. So samma is not that you thinking, oh, this is right, I have to do this way. It is not like that. Oh, this is the way I should do like that. No. When the mind tuned to the clarity, when the mind come to the clarity, out of that clarity, the samma, the right things going to come. Otherwise, not right things you do without unclarity mind. So that is why through the meditation, you develop the clarity. So the developing the clarity means you're not putting something, what happened? You take out all the unnecessary things. Unnecessary things means all the defilements related to greed, hatred, and the delusion through our previous actions. So then how it become more and more powerful when we think. So that is where when you have the primary mental object and you stay with that focus to that primary mental object, in that very moment, the thinking pattern going to drop. So that your thinking pattern drop means you come to a point to drop your mental formations, sanskara. So that's mean your previous past habitual patterns you drop. In that moment, the mind become very clear with the present moment. In that clarity, so whatever you do, it is called samma. So out of your bodily, verbally, mentally action, it always going to become the right thing. That is what called right. So it come out of the clarity of the mind, not by thinking. So then remember in your life to develop, to see, recognize. Why? Because that recognition going to bring the clarity, not the thinking. The thinking pattern, it already have the sanskara, so development, so that always bring the same nature again and again and again. So you have to start with slowly with the little by little things in day-to-day life. That's why it is not a meditation, but it is just a entering to this sea. So whatever your body work, that in day-to-day activities you do in that, whatever the action, you bring your total attention to that, and knowingly recognizing yourself, you do it. And then what will happen, it going to take you to level. And even that you can see, if you get so angry and you have to blame to somebody, and recognize you angry, and know that you blaming, and then you blame whatever the bad words that you use. Do it knowingly. What will happen? Don't try to hold it and not to know, I'm not going to do this or like that way. Just knowingly do it. What will happen later? You will see. You recognize it happened naturally to you. Next time, it's not going to do the same way. Because that recognition, that is the power of the mind. That is the teachings of the Buddha. Not you have the different nature and you act in a different way. No. When it comes to the Dhamma, when it comes to the clarity of the mind, the clarity itself take you to a place to have a very comfortable, relaxed, natural life. In that natural life, there is nothing happen, that nothing go wrong, or there is no harm come out of that. So it's kind of like you tune your mind to a certain level with the clarity, and start to do with the little things, and then you go deeper, then it becomes stronger. That's why we start with inhalation, exhalation, and later see how it go to mind, and how it take us to the deeper level of thoughts pattern, five aggregates, and the entire that the system happening through this sansara, it start to open and take you to see how these five aggregates and dealing with inside. And see, when you come to a point of observing the inhalation, exhalation, it is very simple, thing in your life. And but look what happening little by little, five hindrances start to disappear. So that's mean you start with in the present moment, whatever the things you have, you take a small step and then move forward. In the present moment, whatever the things that you have, with that you take a small step and move forward. But you have to remember, you have to give you 100%, and knowingly you have to do it, and you have to see it. And then it become a stronger, you go deeper. Then the journey become little by little sharp. So there's a story for this. There was a king, and then this king got mad with his advisor, and then gave a punishment. What the punishment? At that time, there was a way that people put into a place. It's kind of like in a pillar, uh, in the top of the pillar, little house, and no one can go there. In Sinhala we call ektamge. This means, the huge pillar, and top of that pillar, that you put a little house, and as a punishment, the king put that person to that little house, and he cannot get out of it. There's no way to come down. Until he die, he going to be there. So then what happened, the king told that to this Advisor, tomorrow, get ready. I'm going to put you in that top of the pillar. So this person told it's okay. And he went home. And then at night, he told to his wife, so tomorrow I may going to go to prison. That's mean king going to put me into the pillar. So what you have to do at night, bring 5 things, little bit honey, and then the very tiny thread. So, and it's kind of like this, very tiny thread, and then the little bit bigger rope than that thread, and then another little bit bigger rope than the second one. So the fourth rope should be more strong and bigger. Little bit honey, and then the very tiny thread, and then little bit bigger thread rope, and then the third one, it should be little bit more stronger rope, and then the fourth one, the bigger rope. So then what you should do, first tie the thread with the first rope. It's kind of like the little bit bigger one, and then end of that tie the second rope, and the fourth one tied in the last, the heavy one. And then there are some kind of ants. They are so attached to honey, they look for honey, and find that kind of ant and tie this little tiny thread in one corner of this ant, and put the honey top of the ant, head of top of the head. Then the ant get the smell of the honey and look for honey, and then keep that the ant to the bottom of the pillar. So then the honey look for the ant look for the honey and start to keep walking. Why? Because the smell coming from the front. Why? Because the honey top of the head, but the ant cannot see. So it keep walking, and it tied to the very tiny thread. But when the ant keep climbing, what happening? The second little bit stronger rope start to go behind it, and the second one, the fourth one. By the end of the night, what happened? The big rope went to the top of the pillar, and then he escaped from the prison. So that is the same way we use for meditation. Remember, in the beginning, just the inhalation, we observe the inhalation, exhalation, but it giving entering to little bit deeper. It giving entering to little bit more deeper. It take us little bit more. So like that, step by step, we have to go. So then when you develop the clarity, when you develop the art of seeing, recognition, remember, don't focus too heavy, larger space. Remember that doesn't mean you cannot do it. You can do. But in the beginning, it is very difficult to do. So in the beginning, come to the present moment and start to see what is happening in this very moment. and give your attention whatever you do, not by thinking about your past or the future. Just bring your attention to the present moment and give your best for the present moment. When it become a skillful, when you develop it, when it become powerful, little by little, little by little, what will happen? You can see beyond the time. It is not thinking. You can see your past, you can see your future when you become very clear with the present moment. Not thinking about past or thinking about future, you try to do in the present. You reverse that all. You come to the present moment and develop the clarity. In that clarity, you can see your past, you can see your future. And that way, so whatever your conventional things and whatever your spiritual things become more successful. And even if you want any change, you take a conscious change. Why? Because you see the future and you recognizing. You don't want that it to happen. So then what you take? You take a conscious decision in this very moment, knowingly and seeing the present moment. And then that's mean you change your future. That is what you need. So then remember yourself, rather than caught up with the past and the future, just start to work with the whatever the moment that you are. The most difficult things, the most powerful hindrance come against this is our greediness. Because our greediness, our strong desires bound to past and the future, we cannot forget our past. Why? Because so we strongly attach to that. That's why even at your home, how many things that you keep related to your past, and once a while when you have free time, what you do? You go to that, your dream palace, your past palace, and your cupboard, your closet, and everything that you take this everything and you take and you look at it and you remind your all the past things, and then again you replace it. You are enjoying it. What is that? No one going to use it. You're not going to use it. You feeding, you eating your past with that all everything, little by little things. Look, you will see how many things you have. Keep it there. Don't touch. Keep it there. Keep it there. Why? Because it is the one feed your desire to live with the past, and sometimes the regarding the future. Maybe it is not yours, maybe somebody else, or maybe you cut from a paper or something and you keep it and you dreaming, looking at it, dreaming every day. And then in that very dream, in that very moment, what happening? You lose who you are. It's like what the Buddha said. You kind of like having an affair with unseen woman or unseen man. You don't know who is that, where that person live, but in your mind you having an affair. That is our life. That is what that is why we caught up in this all the difficulties in our life. So remember yourself. Don't try to struggle, don't try to fight with these outside things. Nothing wrong. Everything has its own place, everything has its own reasons, everything has its own way to go. Appreciate it, respect it, and accept it. But only thing that you have to develop art of seeing, focus, recognize within your own bodily, verbally, and mentally action. When you do something with that recognition, you do within very few days, according to your capacity, how you do, within very few days, you change your entire life. You change everything around you. That is the power of that the seeing and living in the present. You are the one who going to get benefit. In this very moment, you get that benefit, not after once or after 10 years, after 20 years. It is not like that. It is not a life insurance that after you die, you're going to get the benefit. No, this is something in this very moment when you start to practice, even when you understand this, in that very moment, it change entire diagram of your life. So that's why come to a point to see yourself within your action and detach from the past and the future. Give your best for the moment, in the present moment, and do things. So with that, I bless upon everyone. With this good practice, may all of you be well, happy, and peaceful. May no harm come to you. May no difficulties come to you. May no problems come to you. May you also have the patience, courage, understanding, and determination to meet and overcome inevitable difficulties in your life. During this time period, may everyone stay healthy and safe. And finally, may all of you attain supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sabbityo vajjantu sabbarogo vinasatu mate bhavatantarayo sukini gayuko bhava. Ittavata cha ammehi sampadang punya sampadang. Sabbe deva numodantu sabba sampatti siddhya sabbe bhuta numodantu sabba sampatti siddhya sabbe satta numodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Idam me punya kammang asavakkayavang hotu sabba dukkha pamunchutu. Bless you.